why your good content is not cashing in for you. And it's because you're not being specific enough and speaking to their like exact thoughts, beliefs, experiences. And if you can't do that, then we need to do some like evaluation on your work, because you should be able to do this.
You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in.
Hello, my podcast queens. How are we? So I have a couple things that I want to saddle up before we get in today's episode, which I'm really excited about because it's quite strategic, and it's from me auditing literally hundreds of posts over the last couple of weeks. We had the Ruthless and Rich mini mind, and that was fucking incredible, and something that I really wanted to bring into that space was like volume and quantity, and like making them very comfortable with just putting fucking content out there without overthinking, without questioning it. But I also did a lot of audits. I helped them tighten up their captions. I made their hooks hookier, and I actually learned so much about like what people are doing in their content and the biggest reasons why your content is not seamlessly selling into your offers, right? So we're going to talk about all of that today, but a couple things before we do that. So the first thing is that my free training, Signature Savage, is out. This is the training that is going to help you build a financial foundation for your business. Because what's happening, and what I was doing for so long before I started doing this, is I would start over every month being like, what the fuck am I going to sell this month? What the fuck am I going to sell? What's the next thing? It was this very starting over chaotic energy, but not good chaos, right? And then I decided to bring back a signature offer, which was the From Imposter to Empowered program, which is now called The Real Deal Mastermind, and it's fucking incredible. It's my signature offer. And in creating that, I decided to stick with it, even though when I opened the doors last April, I only got one person in. That person went on to sign $20,000 in fucking client contracts. She had amazing transformations. She had amazing breakthroughs, but I had to stick with that offer for 2 months until somebody new joined, and then another person, and it all compounded to $75K cash in the last year, even more now that I am talking to you about this. And this is what happens when you have a signature offer. When you have a signature offer that you stick with, that you are excited about, that is evolving with you, it doesn't feel like a cage. It feels like being set free. And then you have a financial foundation. You have the recurring revenue, so you can spread your fucking wings and you can do those offers that came to you in the middle of the night. You can have those intuitive downloads and create something small and do this class and this. And it's actually been like the most amazing thing for myself and for the clients that I work with. And that is what Signature Savage is all about. And that is a free training. It's an 1.5 hour long training that I recorded for you. And you can grab it now at the link in my show notes. Okay, totally free. This should not be free, but it is totally free. And my second order of biz is I want to invite you to come and work with us inside of the Real Deal Mastermind. Because when you come into this space, you are asking not to be coddled. You are asking to be mentored. You are asking to be challenged and called out so you can be the best fucking version of yourself behind the scenes of your business and in front of the scenes of your business, okay? This is the room for women who are done with playing it safe in their content so they don't turn off their audience when there's actually a bold, spicy bitch behind the screen and she is dying to be set free. Okay? You are done with having launches where somebody joins the first day, but then things get a little bit quiet. You start pulling back because the energy gets heavy. Instead of going all the fuck in and showing up relentlessly like the badass you are and not letting any of it bring you fucking down. You're done with creating content that just gives value and fucking inspires, but isn't showing your true spicy self. And you know that's why it's not converting more, okay? You are ready to sell every day, multiple times a day, but you don't want to be repetitive, annoying, or too much. In this room, you never fucking are. You are rising above it and you're going to go full fucking feral like you know is possible. And you are going to stop pricing less than you know your work deserves and signing clients, high ticket clients that you're not going to feel low-key resentful of because they're not fully invested in the process. You know you are meant to work with soulmate clients who do the work and pay you what your work is worth, okay? You are setting the standard the second you step into this room. This is not a mastermind where I hold your hand. This is a mastermind where I hold up a mirror to what needs to change, what gaps there are in your content, in your offer suite, in your identity, so you can show up and create a six-figure business, so you can scale to 10K to 20K recurring income months and truly become the woman that has the business and a life that she fucking wants. Okay? So head to the link in my show notes, check out the sales page, or send me a DM on Instagram at your coach Jill when you are ready to start the conversation. And then let's dive into today's episode where I was telling you how in the Ruthless and Rich mini mind, I audited over hundreds and hundreds of pieces of content. Like in looking at the channel the other day, there was over 700 messages in our Drop It Like It's Hot channel, which is the channel where I was reviewing all of their content and switching up the hooks and doing all that shit. So like I said, there are 4 big gaps where your content is not seamlessly selling into your offers. And I have to be real with you guys. I've been using my content as an organic funnel to my offers since I started my business. And it's funny because I used to have this complex about it, how people used to come to me and be like, how did you make so much money? What's the secret? Blah, blah, blah. And I'd be kind of embarrassed to be like, I create content and I show up and sell attraction content. And they would be like, is that it? Because we always think it needs to be more complicated. We always think it needs to be the DM strategies, the value content to get them on a sales call and reel them in. You know what I mean? The fucking launch webinars, right? I have a client who has come from a very strategy heavy background, and when I kind of simplify it for her, she's like, I can't believe it can be this simple. And it's I've literally built a multiple 6-figure, almost 7-figure business because I have created content authentically for years online, and I have created attraction-based content that has led people to my friggin' offers. And it sounds so silly for me. I used to have a complex about it because I used to be is this very basic? Do I even know what I'm doing? And you guys know, I've had imposter syndrome and a complex around being a fucking business coach and blah, 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 blah. And then I realized just in 2023, I had to be you need to stop this shit. You are a business coach. Your clients get incredible results and you need to fucking own it. And as soon as I did that, things skyrocketed even more. But a big reason for why I bring in the clients that I do, I attract the clients that I do, I fucking love what I do, is because of the content that I create. Nothing has worked more than posting content that says exactly what my dream clients need to hear and inviting them to fucking work with me every single day, right? This is where your content is costing you sales instead of making you more money. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first one is your content sounds like you're trying to sell to everybody, which means that you're selling to no one. And this is something that cognitively we know, but people still do, because there's this like subconscious and I want to say like primitive need to belong and to appeal to everybody, so you can almost like wrap your arms around everybody possible when you're in scarcity and you think that there's not a lot of people that are going to want to come to work with me. Why would you reduce that number through your content? So it makes sense if like consciously, cognitively, you know, okay, I need to speak to somebody specific, but then you find yourself writing to things that are very broad, very vague. That was one of the biggest things that I did in the Ruthless and Rich container, is like I was fucking ruthless with like looking at their content and being like, this is so fluffy, this is so vague, I don't know who the fuck you're talking to here. And they got so much more specific over the 3 weeks, and it was fucking incredible. So for example, helping women feel confident in their body. Okay, this is gonna make their eyes fucking glaze over. Instead, you can say, I help high achieving women stop spiraling every time they look in the mirror. Hi, Hugo. And hit their goal weight in 6 months without restricting or stepping on the scale, right? That is what makes your dream client feel like you've been reading her diary. She's thinking to herself, I'm a fucking high achieving woman. I am a boss everywhere else, but I am ashamed of my body. And when I look in the mirror, I don't like what I see. And I want to fucking lose weight, but I don't want to restrict myself, because every time I do, you know, I end up feeling like shit. I end up binging, I end up overeating, right? So this is so much more specific. Generic content can inspire somebody and have someone be like, oh, that's nice. But specific content fucking converts. And like, if they can't see themselves in your words and connect the dots to paying you, they are gone. They're gonna go off to double tap someone else's post while you wonder why your good content is not cashing in for you. And it's because you're not being specific enough and speaking to their like exact thoughts, beliefs, experiences. And if you can't do that, then we need to do some like evaluation on your work, because you should be able to do this. Now, it's okay if you need to ask your coach, if you need to like do some finagling, if you need to sit down and journal on this, because it's okay if you can't just like come up with it on the spot. But as an expert at what you do, knowing what experiences they're having, what thoughts they're having, what they're feeling, that is the bare minimum when it comes to your job creating content, okay? The next one is you're not tying it back to your offer in a way that makes sense, okay? You're not tying your offer, your content back to your offer in a way that fucking makes sense. So your content is inspiring, okay? But it's not leading to anywhere. As I said, my content has been an organic funnel. I see it as a funnel directly to my offers. Now, am I saying that every post you post, every reel you make, you need to tie it back to your offer? No. If it's not organic, if it's not a piece of content that, if it's something like personal and you're sharing this because it feels authentic, it feels true, if it's a vulnerable story and it feels, you know, like fucking weird and gross to tie it back to an offer, do not do it then. Don't do it then. But the majority of your content during the week, it should be tying back to your offer. It should be able to be tied back to your offer. And this is what people are missing. And actually, the first part of this is knowing what the fuck you're selling and knowing what the results are, what work you do inside of that container. And then it's going to be so much easier for you to create content because you're pulling from your offer and the things that your clients want and blah, blah, blah. And then you can create content based on that. You don't need fucking content pillars and all of this shit. You need to know, what do you sell? Who do you help? How do you help them? What is your thought leadership? What do you believe? What do you value? What do you have an opinion on? How does that tie to your offer? And then you can create content every single day. It really is that simple. So you're handing out these aha moments in your content because like you're posting good content, right? But every post, or a lot of them, should be an on-ramp to your offer. It should be like, okay, she's talking about this and she has an offer that takes this deeper. Solve the problem and show how you can help them and point them to the solution, which is the container, right? If they don't know the next step after reading your post, you just gave them a lot of really great value without the fucking follow through. And again, you don't have to do this with every single post, but when you do this in a way that like really does like lead to the fact that like you are the best fucking fit for them and that your offer is going to solve the exact problem or help them step into the exact thing you're talking about, like why wouldn't that be a great opportunity to sell your fucking offer? And as I said, you're not tying it back to your offer, right? So when you are actually pitching your offer in the post, are you talking about the key things in your offer that are also the key things in this post? And that way you're tying it all together instead of just like randomly then switching to your offer and saying a bunch of things about your offer that don't make sense with the post you just made. So that is something that we got really good at in Ruthless and Rich. That is something that I do with my clients all the time inside of The Real Deal. I audit their content, their hooks, and all of that in the same way. And we make sure that their pitch and the way that they're talking about their offer, the way the offer is positioned, is aligned to the post that they're making. Okay, the third point that I want to make, the third gap that is showing up here, is your best spicy takes are fucking buried. They're buried in like the second slide or the third slide or halfway down your fucking caption. Like your most magnetic electric takes, like the fucking bitchy things that you really want to say, the really honest truth, the ones that would have stopped them fucking cold. It's like 3 paragraphs deep. It's hidden like a fucking diamond. And you're afraid of being too much. You're afraid of being too cunty, too honest. And you bury your brilliance and what you actually think under layers of backstory and disclaimers, thinking that you'll just ease them in instead of leading with the fucking gold and saying the thing that you're afraid to say when you should be putting the hot take first and then back it up, right? I was talking about this again in Ruthless and Rich, how I was saying like, be a cunt with context. And I love the word cunt. I think it's because I have like some English in me, but like you can't be cunty without backing it up. And I think that is something that we saw in the online space, right? And that's what people wrongly think is like mean girl marketing, is because somebody will say something that's like cunty or honest or whatever, and they can't back it up. They don't have a reason to say what they're saying. They're just thinking, I need to be more like direct. I need to be more bold. I need to be more this or more that. And the thing is like, be a cunt with context. Like, know why you have a spicy take and be able to back it up. Give your ruthless takes fucking context. But don't be afraid to say what you want to fucking say. Don't be afraid to be as direct as fucking possible and to be honest. And I know like the reason why I say this is because we always look for coaches and mentors that really mirror what we're afraid to bring forward. I know for me, like I have a very direct, honest, bold, spicy ass coach now. And like, as soon as I saw her content, it's very polarizing. And I saw it and I was like, this is how I want to be. Like, this is the next level that I am stepping into. And the same thing goes for my clients. And that's why I'm saying it here, is because like, you know that there is a bold, spicy bitch behind the scenes. You know that there is somebody who is so fucking good at her work and is so honest, is so direct, is so cunty for the context, right? She knows she's the fucking real deal. And she also is kind of afraid to show it, is kind of afraid to be too direct, too bold. And there is that version of you that's hiding under there. But it's not that fucking serious. It's an Instagram post. And I know that there's thoughts around like visibility and I was talking with a client about this on a call, how like showing up and being visible, posting this kind of content, it is very simple, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. Like there are real blocks, fear of judgment, fear of somebody seeing it and having a thought of you, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, it's not that deep. It's a fucking Instagram post. And I have also been so honest about the fact that, I friggin' dad used to call me when I started posting online, and he used to berate me for swearing online. And I would question myself, and I would think like, am I being too much? Is this stupid? Should I give up? Like all because my fucking dad doesn't have any boundaries and would call me and be like, you like no one's gonna hire you, blah, 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 blah. And now I've made multiple 6 figures, again, almost 7 figures in my business from being a cunty bitch online. So your best takes are buried and people want to hear them. That is what jolts them out of the pattern. That is what jolts them out of their state. It is a pattern interrupt to be bold and direct. And the way the internet is now, like, first of all, I think that when people are very invested in you and they want to work with you, they love all the shit that you are posting. But when your pattern interrupting new people, it needs to be like, it needs to jolt them. It needs to stop their scroll. The same thing goes for hooks, right? Like when I was reviewing content, I would be like, the juiciest part of this is in the second slide. You were leaving the like result and the like juicy part of it in the second fucking slide instead of the first, right? Okay, and that leads me to the last point, and that is your voice is leaking power, right? It reads like a limp handshake. It's polite, it's forgettable, it's safe. There's no punch. There's no pattern interrupt. Like I was saying, there's nothing that jolts them out of their zombie fucking scroll. Like you're too busy sounding nice instead of saying the one thing that is going to have them stop dead in their tracks and whisper, holy fuck, she's talking to me. Like you consciously say you want to command the room. You consciously say you want dream clients to see you and drop thousands on you, but they can't and they won't if you're afraid to speak your mind and tell the truth because you're more worried about being liked than being paid. Like that is just a biological thing in your brain that is being like, if we are too bold, too much, if we say the real thing, if we're too direct, if we're too specific, then we are not going to belong. We're gonna rule people out. And all of this is a fucking lie. When you get to the core of who you are, when you are honest, when you're direct, when you are specific in who you're talking to, you actually call in the right fucking people. And as somebody who has worked with a lot of clients, it's actually just as bad to like call in the wrong people as it is to not call in anybody at all. Like, yes, you may have made money, but the impact of having a client that is not actually the best fit can cause a lot of problems down the line if they're not as invested, if you charge too low and then you feel resentful and they're not doing the work right and then they don't get results, and you, because you're a good fucking person, you care about the work that you do, you make that mean something about you and your work, and then you don't sell as hard. It's all cyclical. And this is why it's very important for your content to be like that starting point of them knowing who you fucking are and reading it in your voice and like seeing your power off the bat so they can rise to meet you if that's where they want to be, if they actually do want to do the work. And I say that in all niches, right? In business, in health and fitness, in relationships, in manifestation. I have clients in all of these realms, and like, I know that we all think like that we're these special unicorns that want to do the work and are so invested in the coaching industry and this kind of work, and there's nobody out there like us, but there's actually so many people out there. That's why this is like a multi-billion-dollar industry, you guys, where people actually really do want to shift on an identity level. And this is a whole other thing, but like, at the end of the day, coaching is an identity shift, and you do not want to sign somebody that is just going to be like, I just want results. We all want results. We all do. But we all have to have the knowledge and the responsibility that like it's not just about a transference of knowledge and information. It's also about identity. It's also about like learning from somebody and being in somebody's energy, being around their power that does something for us, or we would read a fucking book, or we would take a course. So I want you to think about these things and think about how these things are like seeping into your content. Okay, so the first one, like I said, it's your content sounds like you're trying to sell to everybody. It's not specific enough. The next one is like you're not tying your content back to your offer in a way that makes sense, right? You're not just like doing a post and then at the end pitching your offer. You're tying them all together in terms of seamlessly being like, these are the things that I help you solve. These are the things you're going to step into, blah, 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 blah. And we do this in my offer. 3, your best takes are buried. Bring them to life. Bring them to the forefront. And last, like pattern, interrupt their fucking zombie scroll with your power. Figure out why you don't feel good enough, why you are people pleasing your audience, why you are being too nice, right? And bring that bold, spicy bitch that I know you are to the forefront. And you're going to do all this inside of the Real Deal Mastermind. Inside of this mastermind, we're going to take the exact gaps that are killing your conversions, like the vague messaging, the weak hooks, no connection to your offer, the lost authority because you're not fully in your fucking power. And we're going to turn your content into a sales system that works for you and makes you feel like your sales are fucking inevitable because it's coming directly from your content, your authentic, real content. Like people aren't buying from you because they liked your post. They're buying from you because your content makes them feel seen, called out, and certain that you're the one that they need. And that is exactly what you're going to do inside of the Real Deal Mastermind. So if you're ready to stop blending in and sell with conviction, turn your content into the thing that fills your fucking client roster. You don't want anything too fucking complicated or thinking you need to do a freebie with 1,000 emails and this really complicated funnel. This is how I've made multiple 6 figures, almost 7 figures. Now you want to show up in your power and attract the clients that are really meant to do this fucking work with you. You're going to do it inside of the Real Deal Mastermind. So come in and send me a DM at your coach Jill when you are ready to start that conversation. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you next week.